Hello, this is Roman Gabriel, and you are listening to The Grilling Truth.
Everybody to Survive and Advance on the Grilling Truth Sports Network. Survive and Advance is brought to you by Replenishing Care, the future of sports medicine. To check out more about the PEMF machine and Replenishing Care, you can go to thegrillingtruth.net, click on the banner. I'm your host for Survive and Advance, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I want to introduce former Indiana Hoosier, won a 1981 national championship where he combined for 26 points with Isaiah Thomas. Help me welcome to the show, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Great. Hey, can we get a soundtrack in there that has like a nice round of applause when you say that? Can we add that to our repetition?
No. I mean, I couldn't find
people
to get together and
never clap.
Applaud. Well, here, how about this?
You never clap. Thank you. That sounds better already. Sound effects are an important part of radio.
Lucas didn't even applaud for you. But yeah,
Lucas is a Canadian. They don't applaud at anything Americans do anymore. So.
Well, not too many people applaud at what Americans do.
Applaud at Americans anymore. There you go. That says it all right there.
Especially in 2018, I don't know.
The one thing that we do have in common with Canadians, though, is the whole world's caught up in the World Cup, and neither one of us are in it. And I want to help, or I would like to welcome to the show Lukas Weese, NFL beat writer. How you doing, Lucas?
Hey, good, Mike. How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, I'm doing great, other than the fact that now every day for like an hour to an hour and a half, I have to deal with Risley's crap.
Hey, Mike, is he an NFL beat writer? Mike, is he an NFL beat writer or a CFL beat writer?
No, he doesn't even like the CFL, Steve.
I don't know. So I'm one of the few Canadians.
Yeah, what's the Canadian doing harping on the NFL?
I'm one of the few Canadians that
every foreign country wants, every foreign country wants to bash us, but they all want what we have, don't they? They all want to take us on.
Exactly.
They all want to tell us how wrong we are. But, yeah, they all want what we have. They want the NFL. No. They have their own football league, and they don't even want to report on it. They got to take our – yeah, they'll tell us how bad we are.
No,
I'm not. That's my statement for the month.
No, in fact, I'm a huge NFL fan. I love NCAA college football too, but
this is everybody.
One of the few Canadians that despise the CFL. So,
well, I did a CFL show with Robert Drummond last night, and he likes it. I like it, and a couple thousand people like it.
I like the CFL. I think it's fun football.
I watch the Grey Cup. I mean, I'll tune into the Grey Cup, once every 2 years. But
so that's kind of like an American with soccer, right? They watch the World Cup every couple of years, and then they act like
for us,
fans.
For us, it's like once every 6 years when we get in the damn World Cup. We can only I only watch it when we get in it, so it's like once every 6 years for the United States. I tell you, I'm proposing that Trump let the Mexican team illegally immigrate into the United States, so we can let them play on our soccer team and maybe qualify. I say we let the Mexican soccer team be illegal immigrants. We don't separate their children from them. We put them all together. We get them a nice condo in L.A., set them up a nice field, and let them be the USA soccer team. They just give us citizenship.
In 2026, the World Cup is coming back to North America, so we have a lot to be proud of both countries.
Well, and I think the good thing about that, the reason the U.S. wanted it so bad was, doesn't the home team automatically qualify?
Automatically get them
in. Automatically.
So
that's our only
automatically, so we are in
for the World Cup.
Yeah. So
why do you think Russia held it? They can't dope anymore, so they just go ahead and host the event. Putin opens up his American Express card and pays for it on his Amex card. Here's the whole cost of the World Cup on my Amex Black card. Here, take it now. My team gets to play. We can't dope it anymore, so we got to do it this way.
Well, I think Russia's pretty good, though. I don't know because I don't know anything about that.
I don't know either.
Well, Russia's going to the round of 16. They qualified yesterday.
So we'll add soccer to something else you don't know about, Steve.
Right. So what you're saying is basically Russia is probably on the LeBron James package. That we will get you to the finals no matter what you do. The referees will make sure you get to the finals because you are LeBron, you are Russia. We will get you there. Then what you do in the championship game is your business.
Or they're on the Vladimir Putin package. You know, they're trying to influence the outcome of the World Cup. So that's why they're going through.
Hey, do you think
which is the Russian version of the LeBron plan?
Do you think since none of these American teams will go to the White House, you think if the Russians win the World Cup, Trump will invite them?
Yes, he will. He just announced another. Trump just hours ago announced another summit with Putin. I think Russia and Putin are going to merge, or Russia and U.S. are going to merge into one mega power here pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's going to be called Trump World. It's going to be called Trump World. It will be Russia and the United States. It'll just be Trump World.
All right, guys.
Let's get off this politics right
we're
away.
Getting off the politics stuff because it always gets Steve in trouble.
It does.
So, our discussion today is this.
I'm in a conservative living in a liberal's world. I'm in Los Angeles.
Everybody saw, like a week ago, that, Brett Favre comes out and thinks that, he's getting CTE from playing football and that they ought to ban youth football. My first question, Steve, would be this. Maybe his CTE was from all the opioid abuse and the alcoholism.
Well, doing the research to know how you stand on this, there are many causative factors to CTE, and just simply headbutting in youth football is not the singular only cause of it. There are multiple causes. Now, I hope youth are not indulging in alcohol and opiate use at that point, at that time.
That's just
that's really going to be another issue we need to tackle if that's the case. But there are many causative factors documented that bring on the incidence of CTE down the road, and certainly youth sports are much more susceptible than adults are to getting because your brain protection is not completely developed. Their brains are completely developed. We all know the reasons why. I mean, we need to restate those, but. I don't want to pick on Brett Favre. He's a hero to me. I mean, he's taking a road that I don't agree with. I think there are ulterior motives there, and he's a voice that speaks out. And I don't have much more to say about it in terms of Brett Favre. I mean, he's Brett Favre. I mean, he's gonna. To me, what it looks like to me is somebody who played the game as recklessly as he did. He's now trying to find blame somewhere else for his condition, when he's probably the biggest cause of his condition of anybody around him. He caused more of his problems himself by the way he played the game than probably the game caused to him. In other words, he gave himself the opportunity to get to the position he's in. That's my opinion.
All right, so Lucas, what's your take on this whole subject?
Well, my take is that youth football, it should not be banned, but it should be reformed. I think, look, I'm a big football fan. As I said earlier, I love the NFL. I love college football. And when you begin to ban youth football, you take away the foundation where all the talent is going to go. I mean, you're then going to lose talent to college football. That'll in turn lose talent to the NFL, and then both products will lose out. Obviously, there are businesses that rely heavily on the success of the National Football League and NCAA football, and I don't think we want to, we don't want to destroy such an important focal point culture of the United States of America, which is football. But I do agree that these safety concerns are real. What players are experiencing, the CTE long after their careers, that is a real phenomenon. There is scientific evidence to suggest that a link, a possible linkage between concussion sustained playing football and long-term and CTE and all the risk factors that come along with that. But I think we need to look at the safety mechanisms and parameters that are in place in youth football, because I think that needs to be looked at and changed. I don't think we need to go ahead and just ban it all completely. I think we need to really take a hard look and see, okay, how do we make these kids safer when they put on the cleats and the helmets and the shoulder pads? Because we don't want to, we don't want to injure them too early. We don't want to, put them in a position where they're unsafe. But they are taking a risk, and they know the risks.
Wait a second.
Before they're going out to play the sport.
Wait a second. No. You're telling me a 7-year-old knows the risk of putting on a helmet and playing football?
Look, I think that at that age, I mean, when I was that age, 10 years old, I wasn't playing football, but I was in organized sports, and my parents sat me down and said, look, when you go out there, you might get hurt. And so I believe that there is a risk involved in, whatever sport that you get involved in, whether it be football, baseball, soccer, basketball, hockey. But I think what needs to be changed, though, is there needs to be more education for the parents who are putting their kids into these sports, so that they understand what's at stake here. And, of course, there just needs to be more safety mechanisms in place so that these kids don't get concussion.
How are you going to put a safety mechanism in place to make sure a kid doesn't get a concussion? Because this is the thing. The problem is not necessarily concussions. I mean, there's very few concussions between 9 and 12 years old. But the problem is this. Any kind of brain contact or head contact causes problems. It's not just concussions. And the thing is this. I mean, neurologists have agreed that the brain undergoes a stage of peak maturation between the ages of 9 and 12. And that's a period where they did a study at Boston University that shows that in a season, a football player or a youth football player that has 10 games and all these practices will undergo 252 shots to his head during a year.
Correct.
And the problem is this. I don't know how you can have a sport like football coached by parents that are basically bankers, businessmen, insurance agents, carpenters, the store manager at Lowe's. They're not qualified to coach this sport. And this is not a sport you play. You can get seriously injured playing football. And my best story I remember is this. 1991, after I'd got out of college, I wanted to coach football. I didn't know that I was going to eventually be a football coach, but I had a friend that wanted me to help coach a youth team. I ended up coaching a youth team, but in that first year, I think it was 91 or 92, we go down and we're watching the older teams, which are 9 to 12-year-olds play, and there's like 30 seconds left in the game, and it's Lawrenceburg against South Dearborn, which both sides hate each other. And Lawrenceburg's getting their ass kicked, and they can't handle it. They're down 26-6. They call a timeout while the other team's taking a knee, and with 5 seconds left, they call timeout. I look at my buddy. I said, man, what the hell are they doing? He said, I don't know. They come up, and when the other team goes to snap the ball, their kids, before the ball is even snapped, just run across and just destroy the quarterback. Broke his arm. It's the problem is not the kids, it's the parents. It's the people that run it. And there's no way to educate a parent because parents are stupid. Because the majority of parents think that little Johnny is going to play in the NFL or he's going to go to Notre Dame, and he's not. The harsh reality is this. Why do we have football between 9 and 12? It's because you have parents that are delusional that think their kid's going to get a scholarship and go play Division I football.
Let him talk. Let him talk. He's digging a hole. Let him talk. He's digging a hole. Let him talk.
Ahead.
Let him talk.
Go ahead.
First off, I ran a league for 6 years. I ran a youth football league with 1,200 kids in it, and we were the largest in the state of Indiana. And we put measures in place to control those. Now, you can't control every parent. I give you that.
Yeah.
But we put measures in place along the way and kept ahead of the game as best as we possibly could to control all the elements that you're talking about. We would not allow a parent of a kid on his own team to be a head coach of that team. You could be an assistant coach, but not a head coach.
What's that matter to all of this? You're talking about a wealthy organization.
Well, when I get to finish, you'll hear a point. Pardon?
You're the one that screamed
Repeat what
last.
you said?
Go ahead. I said.
Yeah.
No, you interrupted. Go ahead.
It doesn't cost money to lay down a set of rules. It doesn't cost money to enforce them. It just takes involvement. You know, I mean, I was chairman of Code of Conduct as well, and every year, of the 6 years I was there, I fired 3 to 6 coaches a year. Just said, you're done. Get off. Don't show up. You're not allowed on the fields anymore. I don't care if your kid's playing. You cannot come back to the fields. We eliminated. We put the fear of God in these guys. We did all we could do. Now, we can't control it all. You can't. Now, most of these programs now have taken steps, as you and I talked about, Mike, to begin the process of eliminating contact during the week. Most teams now, virtually all programs, college up to pros, and youth as well, go to a no-contact rule during the week of practice. Contact only really occurs in the course of a game. Almost every league, the NFL, the CFL, college football, high school football has these rules. Youth football in most instances have these rules. Trust me, when I first came into the league, we had the thing called the gauntlet that you had to run to get evaluated. You had to run the gauntlet. Everybody knows what the gauntlet is. You know, get your butt kicked by 12 big, strong kids. You have to run through it. We eliminated that in the first year. That's it. That's done. This was before this whole protocol thing and concussion thing even became the monster that it is today. And a justifiable monster. But we eliminated contact. We finally broke it down to shorts and shoulder pads only to practice in, and no contact period. If you were caught, you were out. We told you it's a zero-tolerance policy. You're off coaching. You're done. If we get any word of any parent telling us there's contact going on in practice, you're out of here. It didn't cost us any money to do that. It's simply we needed people out there reporting and enforcing.
For sure.
Okay, so
you
eliminated.
So it can't be dealt with.
So you're eliminating contact between 9 and 12-year-olds. So the first live contact.
We eliminate contact contact's been eliminated to the pros, except for game day.
Okay.
It's eliminated all the way up to food.
This is my question, Steve. All right. So the first time these kids ever play in a game is the first time they're ever going to tackle anybody. It's the first time they're ever going to get hit.
No.
Yeah,
you know as well as I do.
You said you eliminated contact.
Okay.
I mean, if there is absolutely no contact in practice, I've never seen a football team that had absolutely no contact in practice.
Mike, let me tell you a great revelation. Football is a contact sport, buddy. There's always going to be contact.
Yeah.
Well, you just said that they
eliminated. All right, it's a contact sport.
And I hate to tell you
we eliminate violent contact. We eliminate pad-to-pad violent contact. Incidental contact, it occurs in every single sport that is played.
Yeah.
You can't, other than golf, maybe. And I've seen caddies and players, when they chip in from 40 yards, chest bump each other. That's contact. So golf is technically a contact sport, too. Should we worry about golfers getting a concussion?
I don't even think golf.
I mean, what we're doing is eliminating.
Hey, golf is a sport. Come on.
Sure it is. John Daly did it.
Golf is a great sport.
Yeah. All right. So everything should be fine for this. They should be allowed to go ahead and hit each other, even though you have unqualified individuals.
No, we just
them.
said no.
That's not. No, I disagree.
See, Mike, you're on a platform, Mike.
They're unqualified.
You're not. We understand that, and that's part of the.
You could have coached the greatest league in the world, Steve, and maybe you did, or you ran it. But the problem is this: you're not the only one running a league, and most of these people are in this for their own kids because they think their kids can be something. And when you look at the Boston University chronic, what? Go ahead.
That's a misnomer, Mike. That's really a misnomer, Mike.
No, it's not.
That is a massive generalization.
You're not saying that, Mike. Most people don't go into this.
Anything.
You are massively generalizing
No,
that.
I'm not. Because kids that play Pee Wee football between the ages of 9 and 12 only learn bad things. That's it. They learn how not to play.
I disagree with you.
Mike,
100%.
All you want, but I've got about 70 kids that I individually coach right now, and if I get a kid that's played Pee Wee football, he has things I have to fix that he's been doing wrong that nobody has ever corrected.
Sure, granted. That's what there's professionals that just got drafted in the NBA that general managers and coaches are going to have to fix because they inherently got them wrong in college because the college coach wasn't qualified to do it.
But
you can go all there's NFL coaches. I think some of the worst tackling in sports is in professional football. These guys lower their heads more than anybody.
Oh, for sure. You see it every week.
Wait
you see it almost every week in football.
I hate to tell you guys this, but your argument a while ago is what is true. tackling in professional football right now is worse because it's not practiced. And I don't think it should be practiced.
It's not taught.
I think it's not
taught.
It's not taught. Okay, so a guy that's 23 years old, that's drafted in the first round, has never been taught to tackle. This is the problem, Steve. Have you ever heard of rugby?
Yes.
The occurrences of rugby players with no helmets, of getting head trauma is very small. It's because they are taught to tackle like a rugby player. If you teach football players to tackle like rugby players, which the Seattle Seahawks did, that Seahawk defense that dominated everybody, they were known for being guys that rugby tackled, and you saw almost no Seahawk players getting concussions that were defensive players. Now, when I look at this, and this is the thing that blows my mind, because I know everybody's kid's bigger and stronger than everybody else's and everything, but Boston University's Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy Center came out with a study that said playing contact football before the age of 12 causes brain damage throughout life. This study adds to growing research suggesting that incurring repeated head impacts through tackle football before the age of 12 it's just too great of a risk. I don't see what the reward is here that makes this risk worth taking. I really don't. And it's a joke. And I've been around youth football when my kids played. All right? I did not like it, so I coached them to make sure, they weren't hitting in practice. Everything was being done the right way. But I also know this. In 1990, the first team I coached was a youth football team. I knew more than most people. I had no clue how to coach a football team. I didn't have that clue until I got older, and I coached much older people. And I don't think a carpenter should be doing brain surgery, and I don't think he should be coaching football. And I don't think that, a mechanic necessarily should be teaching my kid chemistry.
Look, no.
Well, if that's the case, we should eliminate. If that's the case, we should eliminate all youth sports, period. Because it's the same old true for youth basketball,
all
youth
sports are not coached.
Agreed.
You just eliminate youth sports. Most people that coach youth sports, period, are parents and volunteers who don't know what they're doing. That holds true. And I'll tell you what, and I've got a study from the University of Northwestern, which is a little more prestigious than Boston College and the American College of Osteopathic Medicine.
The Boston University, which is Chris Nowinski.
Boston University, same thing.
Guy that most people, no, it's not. It's not even close to the same thing. There's a huge difference between Boston University's chronic. Do they have a CTE center at Northwestern?
I don't even know. I cited their study.
Well, because the only CTE center that I know of is Chris Nowinski at Boston University, who was a football player, who now the NFL is paying to try to fix the mess they've made. And the thing is this, study or no study, Steve, are you really comfortable with a 9-year-old kid playing tackle football?
No, I'm not advocating at all.
No, I don't think that's what we're saying.
Up to a certain point.
Then why are we doing it?
Then there should be a period of pads and shoulder pads and pads and helmets only.
Dude,
and I think contact should not occur until. And I'm going to tell you what, my son went through the program, started flag football in the 2nd grade. The worst freaking coaching he ever got was in junior high school football. It was the black hole.
Well, I don't think you should be allowed to play. I don't think you should be allowed to.
And he played college football.
I don't think you should be able to play till high school. And the thing is this: when people say it'll kill football, when you look at this, at the Grueling Truth Legend show, I've interviewed over 150 Pro Bowl players, 10 Hall of Famers, and the thing I know is this: probably 40% of all those guys did not start playing until high school. And out of those guys,
it wasn't available to them. It wasn't available to them.
It was. Why wasn't it available to him, Steve? Leon Searcy had a mom.
When I grew up.
No, Leon Searcy had a mom who would not allow him to play till he was a senior. There's multiple guys here that are Hall of Famers that parents wouldn't let them play until they were in high school. It was available to them. I mean, I don't think that it wasn't available to them. There's been Pee Wee football in this country basically since the 1950s. I mean, so it wasn't that it wasn't available to them. It's because they didn't play, or maybe they didn't. We had Bill Searcy, who won 2 national championships at Alabama, played in the NFL, that he just didn't want to play football until he got to high school. And the thing is...
All right, well, that's a conscious decision that he made.
and it's a conscious decision the parents made in a lot of cases to keep their kids safe. And those guys prevailing, when they do the studies, and they did this study here, that guys that played in the NFL, that played tackle football before the age of 12, were like 3 times more likely to have CTE issues when they got older. And when you look at it, every guy, and this is the sad thing, I interviewed 3 years ago when we started doing the Legend Show. Out of the first 7 guys I interviewed, 4 of them now have dementia, 1 of them's dead. Every one of them was a guy that, I started playing in 3rd or 4th grade. And the 3 that aren't, and I know this is a small scenario here, or a small case study, but they're fine. And when you look at this, in boxing's a contact sport. But boxing's a sport where if you're 10 years old, you're fighting 2-minute rounds. There's 3 rounds. You're using gloves that are oversized, and you got a headgear. There's no way to make the game of football safer without taking the helmets off of everybody.
Or you implement safer equipment. You
There's
can
no
implement.
Equipment.
They're trying.
Well,
they're trying to. Every year we have they're trying to implement safer equipment from the helmet to the shoulder pad. And I think that with more research, there needs to be more of that.
But this is the problem. A helmet is never going to keep your head safe. The only thing that can keep your head safe is your jaw staying in place during these hits. This is what nobody knows. When you look at this, there's a place called Power Plus mouth guards, which is what my sons use. And if I wouldn't have found the thing, and this isn't a commercial, I'm not going to say go to my website and look. We pay $30 for the mouthpiece. They use it every year. No head trauma, no concussions. Basically, it is a mouthpiece that is inserted that covers the bottom. It holds your jaw in place. So if you've got it in your mouth and you've got your clench there, you got your teeth together, it's holding the upper and the bottom together. When you look at a normal mouthpiece for a football player, it just covers the top teeth. It doesn't keep that jaw from, moving around. And the thing is, when I looked into the Power Plus mouth guards, they've been using this for 7 years with 6 different high school teams, and their rate of concussions were like 0.5. There was like 1 or 2 concussions over 7 years. The problem is, everybody keeps thinking, well, this helmet can make it safer. It can't, because the brain moves, and what? It moves in the head when you get hit. There's nothing you can put on your head that will keep that brain from moving around when you get hit, when you get trauma to the head. And I'm sorry, I've made my living off of coaching football. I love football. But it bothers me that my sons play. It bothers me that I've coached a lot of guys that I'm really close to, and I have fear that, 10, 15 years down the road, I'm finding out, well, this guy's got, he's got problems now. He's got CTE, or he's got.
See, Mike, I agree. I have no doubt that there are risks, and that these long-term health issues that many football players are experiencing, it's real, and I wholeheartedly acknowledge that. But I think where we go to look here is, you take youth football away. These are communities that are losing out here. These kids, they go into youth sports to learn important life skills like participation and, battling, under, adverse situations.
You can't learn that through flag football?
And football, just let me finish. I think that, these type of programs, because I think a lot of kids, obviously there are parents who are very delusional and think, that their kid is going to be the next Peyton Manning, and not just nonsense. But I think a lot of kids are in real tough times in their communities, and they see football as an avenue years down the road to help support their family. And I think you have a lot of kids who are from low-income families who participate, and these type of programs can help keep kids off the streets. It gives them, something that they belong to. And in a country like America that has, an obesity issue, it'll help solve that issue. And I think that true, but But I mean, in most cases, it gets kids active. But at the end of the day, look, I think that flag football, that is a possible alternative, because I think it takes away the physicality of it. And that's what I said off the top. I think it should not be banned. It needs to be reformed. I think but at the end of the day, then, kids who have aspirations to go farther in football, whether that be college, whether that be the pros, they have to face the fact that this is a tough, physical, rough sport, and they have to face the music that, hey, if I go out there, I could have a serious risk. And, to me, if you start eliminating, you can eliminate the serious, rough aspect of tackle football, but if you just eliminate it altogether, I just don't know how the high school football, college, and NFL will then decrease their product, because it's just going to happen. The foundation of the youth are going to then fall. Less people will then participate in football, and then you have a case where the product of football, the brand of football, is just declining.
Well, the brand of football is going to decline no matter what, because you've already changed the game. I don't think going to flag football.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mike, what is your ultimate goal? Is it to eliminate youth football?
To make it flag football.
Okay, I don't think anybody's in disagreement with that.
Until the age of
40. Is anybody in disagreement with that? I think you go to a period of time, if it's 14, sometimes it's before the year or two before junior high football, and then you go to shorts and shoulder pads. And what do you have a name for it, Mike? What you call that? What's it called?
You play thud.
We just call it shorts and shoulder.
Play thud junior
right.
high,
thud
which
football.
is basically is uppers.
Right.
And, I mean, with my high school team, this is what we do.
But there will be contact. There will be contact in that part of it.
Yeah, there'll be contact. There'll be blocking contact.
Right.
And my other thing is this. Make all offensive linemen in a 2-point stance.
I agree.
Yeah.
But what it sounds like you're harping on is that youth football is inherently bad and should be eliminated.
Yeah.
For all the reasons Luke said, it shouldn't be. There's a lot of other factors.
Yeah, but you do that
bring
with flag
positive
football,
light.
you've got the same thing. And it's kind of sad that we live in a country where when our youth is downtrodden and have no way out, they got to go play a sport to be able to think they have a chance to get a way out. That's something that's inherently wrong with this country also. Because nobody says...
Well, I agree with that, but that's a whole other discussion, Mike, in terms of...
Right, that's a whole other discussion.
Equality,
but the thing is this, not having tackle youth football is not going to stop Tom Brady from someday being a great quarterback. Because he's not going to learn a whole hell of a lot about playing football between the ages of under 14. And when you look at it, my other problem is at the high school level, where you probably half the states at least mandate that you have to be a teacher to be the head coach. I mean, I don't want.
So what?
I don't want.
What's your advocate
being the head coach?
But what's your alternative?
What's your alternative? Yeah, exactly. What's your alternative?
Your alternative.
Because now we've got a problem with youth being over. We got a problem with youth being overweight as it is, and already locked into video games. So we're going to eliminate Saturdays in the football field where they're getting exercise, getting activity, beating other people. We're going to let them sit in their rooms now.
Wait a second,
sorry,
Steve,
Johnny, you can't play youth football. You can't play youth football. Go play more video games.
If you play flag football, everybody ends up being a receiver. So you won't have an 11-year-old peewee coach telling her son or telling their kid, you need to fatten up to play the line. You'll actually have kids running more.
All right, Mike, we're all in agreement. Youth football should start with flag football through a period of time. There should be no contact at all. None of us disagree with that.
Yeah.
We're on the same page here. Move on. Get off that. We buried that horse. You're the ones that kept
bringing it up. You guys were the one arguing it.
No, we asked you, what's your solution?
I already told you knew my solution coming in.
Our solution is that you eliminate youth football for a period of time, eliminate it, and then just have flag, and then you go into a period of thud football, and then starting in high school possibly, or maybe the second year of junior high, you go to full contact football, and then it goes on from there. Actually, truthfully, in the study I looked at at Northwestern, football ranks fourth behind 4 girls sports in terms of percentage of concussions relative to all injuries in that sport. Girls soccer is the number one sport in terms of concussions occurring in the sport.
I believe soccer should be completely outlawed in this country anyways.
Well, you're a communist.
Oh, my goodness.
You're just a communist.
How am I a communist?
I don't like soccer,
There's
but I'm not going to limit.
countries
Soccer's
that
the
love
number one
soccer.
sport in the world.
The disrespect
world
to the
loves
beautiful
soccer.
game.
It's a stupid game.
Let's just isolate ourselves a little more as a country and eliminate soccer. We'll be the only country in the world that has banned soccer.
Well, we don't
There you
play
go.
it.
No wonder we're not
come on,
in the World Cup.
Let's face it. Iceland and Iran made the World Cup. The United States did not. So why do we even mess with it?
And you know what? This
Because
is
it's
a
a
joke.
beautiful
So I'm telling you right front. This
Because
is
it's a
a
beautiful
joke. But in
unified
terms of your
game.
rugby players, you have to have a brain to injure one. If you play rugby, it's likely you don't have a brain.
Why is that?
So that was a joke. That's a joke. That's a
Well,
joke.
see, it's not a joke if you have to tell us it's a joke. Because nobody thought it was funny.
I got the joke.
And all the All
You
Blacks
got the
down
joke.
in New Zealand are ready to come kick your ass, too. So.
You know what? Put some shrimp on the Barbie. I'll be down and take my hits. I'll wear a helmet.
Hey, real quick, guys, we're going to take a commercial break.
I'm wearing a DNA.
Hey, we're going to take a commercial break. That means, Lucas, since you're new to the show, don't talk because people could hear you. So don't say anything bad like Steve does from time to time. We'll be back right after this message from PEMF.
Replenishing Technologies helps athletes of all levels train, recover, and perform at their absolute best. We do this by offering the PEMF 120, the world's leading pulsed electromagnetic field therapy device. Workouts, injury, and stress cause cells to lose their natural power. PEMF works like a battery charger, helping cells regain the power needed to dump toxins, take in oxygen and nutrients, and repair. 95% of athletes report less pain, increased range of motion, more energy, and they simply feel better after using PEMF 120. If you'd like to count yourself among that group, contact us at www.replenishingtechnologiesinc.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to Survive in Advance. I'm Mike Goodpaster with Steve Risley and Lukas Weese. So I guess we've solved the...
Well, let me talk about one other factor of this here that's come into play.
All right.
Real quickly. And it's something I read about in one of these studies that says that basically the incidence of concussions in youth sports has not dramatically increased, or in sports in general.
Mm-hmm.
What's increased is the awareness of them. That our awareness now is so much greater, the detection is so much greater now that this has always been a problem in sports. With any sports played, be it girls soccer, girls basketball, girls volleyball, which all rank higher in the study I'm citing, that had a higher incidence of concussion being a rate of injury than did football, youth football. And it's the awareness that's come up now. So now what we're doing is we're creating a little bit of fear factor going in here. It needs to be addressed, but we're creating almost a fear factor here now of elimination. Like, if we don't understand something, let's just get rid of it. We're afraid now. Let's just get rid of it. That's not the truth. We're just understanding now what's happening.
I thought
we all agree. We all agree. Most likely, O.J. Simpson had CTE. It just goes without a doubt that man has CTE. It doesn't eliminate what he did and doesn't unconvict him for what he did. But there's a classic example of somebody who probably just went totally berserk from having CTE for a moment in his life. And I understand that's a real factor. But it's the awareness now that has increased so dramatically. I mean, the equipment is safer than it's ever been. And you're right. We can't make equipment safe. The only way to make it totally safe is to put them in a bubble and play bubble ball. And give them a football, stick it in the hole.
Too. I've never played that, but I really want to. Because
it looks fun.
My arena team played a game in Muskegon, Michigan, like 4 years ago, and these kids come out and start playing football in these bubbles, and it looked awesome. I didn't even talk to my team that much at halftime. I just kind of watched the game. But the thing I don't like, Steve, is this. When you got the NFL, they pay lip service to this. They do the USA Football Heads-Up Program certification course for coaches, and it's a joke.
It's a start.
It's not a start. It's an absolute abomination because it's an open book test you could cheat on. When you look at this, I mean, the course costs $25. Now, number one, why does the NFL need $25 from every youth football coach or high school coach? I don't think they do. Maybe if they get that $25 for the heads-up concussion course, maybe they should give it to guys like Ricky Dixon battling ALS and they're fighting him for his money, or any of these other players they do this for. And I just, in the end, when I look at this, nothing is being done about this the way it should. The NFL pays lip service to everything. Ray Rice, you beat your wife up, you get, 2-game suspension. But wait, we found the video, so now the public's pissed at us, so now you can never play again. I mean, they pay lip service to everything. USA football is a joke. It's just a way to make $25. And the bad thing is this, all these youth organizations use it, and there's no reason to. I mean, and my other thing is this. Most youth organizations do not have a team doctor on the sideline. They don't have an ambulance at the game. And this is the thing. Making it touch football up until the age of 12, I don't think is going to affect football a damn bit here in this country. I just don't.
We all agree on that.
And
I keep going back to that. We're in agreement there.
But
we all agree.
Let me interject. I think Mike, you make a good point about the lack of medical personnel. I mean, in high school players, I'm looking at some stats here. It's estimated about 1 in 10 players have probably had a concussion. 40% of them went back to play in the same game.
Yeah.
And 60% who got knocked out cold also went back to play the same
and
day.
Every year we see a handful of cases where that second concussion they get ends up killing them on the field.
Jaquan Waller. I mean, I don't know if you heard his story.
Yeah.
He played in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
He had a concussion from a practice. He then went to play in the Friday Night Lights and then got another concussion, and that ended up killing him. Now, do I blame the game of football itself? Well, partially, but I solely put the blame on where is the medical personnel. I mean, for his first concussion, the responder on the scene diagnosed Waller with a migraine and sent him home.
Yeah.
There was no mandatory visit to a doctor, no rules on the procedure to find out what was wrong with him. No one knew any better. And that, to me, is where high schools really need to take a hard look, because I think if you put educated medical professionals on the sideline, and like it is in the National Football League, the National Hockey League, if there's some sort of concussion, you have to go through a concussion protocol. Why isn't this happening at the youth/high school
because
level?
you got to have the money to pay for it, and a lot of schools and communities don't have the money. I think that it's mandatory now. You have to have an ambulance at a high school game. But
yeah.
I know that we've played games before where there was no team doctors there, because our team doctor is there when we're playing at home. The other team's supposed to have a team doctor there. But let's also face it. We had a situation in Columbus where actually my son gets hurt, but he got hurt a few plays before that. There was like 2 kids on the other team that got hurt. So my kid's laying over on the sideline for like 5 minutes waiting on medical attention because they're working on the other 2 kids and don't even know mine got hurt.
Yeah. It's
all right.
sad.
Let me just interject. Going back to USA football, Mike, I understand where your anger is with them and what they do and how they're bought. We rebuked USA football to come into our league for probably until the last 2 years I was involved with our youth football league. They came to us because we were big. We were the product to be involved with. They were trying to make a name for themselves at that point in time. USA football is actually based out of Indianapolis. Their headquarters are in Indianapolis. We met with them several times, and we said, "Oh, we don't think we need you guys. Really, we're doing things pretty much what you're telling us to do." I would tend to agree with you in terms of the football end of it, but I'll tell you where USA football really, and we were doing a lot of these things already, but they educated us on all the things we just talked about. At our youth league, we worked with the Fishers Fire Department. We had a paramedic ambulance on Saturdays run their runs out of our youth league. They just basically parked their ambulance, and if they had to go on a run, there was another fire department within a quarter of a mile of our leagues, and that's not always the case, although we're fortunate there, that could be there within minutes. But we parked an ambulance at our youth league for the entire Saturday. and they made their runs. If they had to go on a run, we heard the sirens go. They took off. They went on a run. We had Fisher's Police Department, always a Fisher's Police Department there. We were medically trained. We had ultimately a number of parents who were physicians, and we always made sure that we looked at the schedule, we looked at everything, that we always had a physician on the field somewhere, either a parent or somebody that volunteered. Now, USA Football preached a lot of that it goes beyond just learning how to tackle, learning how to coach kids, all this. There's an organization you have to set up to help protect these kids that's above putting on a helmet, getting fitted for equipment, teaching kids to dummy up and tackle, and how to wrap, and how to not do head-on-head contact. USA Football did a very good job there. The administrative part of it, and so we were already doing it. And we finally went with USA almost as much to help them as they were helping us, because we had already instituted a lot of those policies that they were already doing. So the education part of USA Football, what they do, isn't only just on the field. It's the organization of running a league, all the things that we talked about, the parents, how to control parents, how to regulate parents, how to police parents. You know, they do a great job on that end of it. And I think that they need to be a part of youth football because they're organized. And I do think, for the most part, in our final dealings with USA Football, they do seem to care about righting the ship. I think, they see what was going on.
The video,
but I can't speak to the fact of what they knew in terms of clinics they ran on tackling and contact. Contact courage was a big word that was always used. You have to have contact courage, and that's a word that should be eliminated from youth football. No coach should ever boil out the two words contact courage in the same sentence.
Well, how about this?
It's just
my biggest problem with them, and the reason they lost me a couple years ago when I took this for my high school team, was, strangely enough, the phrase CTE is never even uttered within the portion of the course that talks about it. And also, while every other video concentrates on the game of football, when you go to the concussion section, it suddenly becomes about all youth sports. There are stock images of basketball players, lacrosse players, hockey players. There's even a slideshow noting that concussions can happen outside of sports. Concussions are everywhere, guys. It's definitely just not a football thing. So if they are really interested in cleaning up football, it looks like when they were talking about the concussions, this would be about, as Lukas said, the second concussion. I mean, you got to watch the second concussion. I mean, your eyes are
Mike. The world was missing that boat in youth sports and in sports in general. NFL missed it. College football's missed it. In the last 2 years, there has been an explosion of awareness in CTE. It's been in the last 2 to 4 years that this has really come out. And every study I researched to debate with you on this said that there's been an enormous explosion in the last 2 to 4 years, 5 years, of this becoming much more relevant and prevalent. We have the data, the technology to study it now, to understand it. We just found CTE, basically. We didn't know that CTE really was a causative factor of contact in youth football or football for the year. We're just still understanding it. So to say that USA 4 years ago didn't get that, nobody got it. And I think the NFL didn't get it either. I think they understand it now. They just don't want to pay for it now.
No, they just don't.
They don't want to go into their coffers
because they're paid,
and they don't want to pay back all the athletes they need to pay and take care of. Nobody knew it, Mike. You didn't know it when you started coaching.
No, but I knew that. But
now you do know it.
I did know this. If you get hit in the head, nothing good comes from it.
No, of course not.
And everybody knew that
of course not.
Even. But they just didn't care. It just went with it. And the thing is this, I don't know what 5 years ago has to do with now. Because we didn't know CTE existed. We didn't know 5 years ago North Korea could make a nuclear bomb. Now we do. Now they're a threat. Now we deal with them. We didn't know they were making them 5 years ago. Now we do. We deal with it. We're dealing with CTE now as best as we can. We need to make changes. There should be no contact in youth football until a period of time. I'm not going to say junior high, 5th grade, 6th grade. I don't know what that period is. There's smarter people than me that will make that decision. But it needs to be made. And there should be no contact. Then there should be a period of easing into contact. But, Steve, the problem is this. The people that will make this Who are the people that will make this decision?
It's got to be us. You can't walk away from it and say, I'm not going to get involved anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is this. The law, if you're going to have a law, then you got Congress making that law. They can be bought off for anything. Hell, the NFL could pay them off to vote a certain way. Because
they probably
the NFL wants to act like nothing's wrong. And my whole thing
I've never seen a senator or congressman go to a game and sit in the same seats I sit in. They're always up in some damn suite.
Not sitting with the owner.
Of course they're getting bought off.
Yeah.
They sit with the owner. Right.
So
okay, what's new about that?
My point of this is this. There's nothing you can do about that because people in this country are so stupid fighting about random shit that doesn't matter that they don't even understand what does personally affect them anymore. And what personally affects me, is a lot different than what I see on the news. And they want us fighting with each other so they can do whatever the hell they want behind us. That's just the way it goes. But I could make this point. If my sons right now were 9 years old and said, I want to play football, I would say, you're going to have to wait till you're in high school. Okay,
then that's your choice. That's the God-given right of you as an American parent. Don't let them play.
The question is,
so there are others who'll say,
the question is,
I believe I can make the game safer. I believe I can make it better for my kids, and I believe I can get them through it and enjoy the sport, take the good that comes with the team's camaraderie in a team like that. On the Saturday mornings of getting snacks after a game, which is what most kids in second and third grade care about anyway. What's the snack for after the game, Coach?
That's in soccer.
Same as soccer. Yeah, the kids I play soccer. They're more worried about what I brought to school than they were what the games.
And they're coached by soccer people. You don't get a snack.
Our football teams always get it. It was mandatory. You brought snacks.
Yeah, you were in a soft neighborhood where everybody had money.
I just think if I can interject, I think in America you have a freedom of choice. And I think at the end of the day,
no, you don't.
Politicians get involved enough in your day-to-day lives. And I don't think that legislators should be deciding on, or banning, youth football or whatnot. It needs to be up to the parents like you, Mike, to make a conscious decision and say, look, to your son or daughter, whatever, to say, football isn't safe. You got to wait till a certain age.
All right. How about this,
play.
Lucas? They made me wear a seatbelt.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
But at the end of the day, but it's not like the law. The law still permits you to drive at 16 years of age. I know
it doesn't let
Canada,
you drive at age of 9.
That's still a very young age.
I know. They don't let you drive at the age of 9.
In some states, you drive at 14.
Yeah. But they don't
Mike, you're arguing like a child now. Mike, you're arguing like a child now.
How's that like a child?
You're arguing like a child.
How's it like a child?
You're saying, you're comparing apples to oranges. Driving and seatbelts have nothing to do with youth football.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. They both inherently have their own issues.
Seatbelts have nothing to do with anything.
I think, though, back to...
Drive a truck. You don't have to wear a seatbelt with a truck with so many tonnage.
Yeah. Well, I should not... Wait a second. This is going to get on a whole other tangent, but how the hell can anybody tell me what I can do with my body?
You just argued your own question. Why? How can you tell us they can't play youth football?
No, because they're underage.
But you just answered your own question.
Make that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mike,
you don't
cry
think
Mary
car
while you
seats should be
can.
there.
Mike, cry Mary while you can.
But at the end of the day, Mike, I would rather...
You're making no sense. Typical.
I would rather have my kid... instead of playing video games or not being active...
You'd rather have him hitting in the head?
In a youth league. Where you can build relationships, where you can learn about the game, where you can have fun, where you
football.
can... Mike, if we get more people like you involved in the sport, responsible people who know how to teach, who know how to train, and don't rebuke it and get involved, and then we get it done right. But it's not going to happen if we just run away from it.
I can tell you this.
Youth football is always going to happen.
Hey, I can tell you this. All right, I volunteered to help. They asked me not to help anymore because of my practices where I didn't allow kids to hit each other and stuff. I coached my sons at South Dearborn. Okay.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I coached them for 3 years.
And the British asked us not to
games.
secede from the British monarchy either in 1776.
Yeah,
we did it anyway. There are 1 million Mike Goodpasters in the world, okay, out in the United States. The guys who think right, who do the right thing, who want to do the right thing. We've got to find those people. We've got to get them taking charge. Okay. And I agree. We need to regulate when hitting can occur. What?
And we also need – sorry.
Go ahead.
And we also, I believe, need the current – the right people is right. But I also think you need the superstars in the NFL currently. I mean, we've been hearing about, retired, NFL players who've been dealing with this, and they can provide us with insightful knowledge about their lived experiences. But where are the NFL superstars like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, use a Colts example, Andrew Luck, and all those other current players to really raise awareness about this, that this is a serious issue and it needs to be regulated.
Tom Brady came out in the paper the other day to say he's not letting his kids play until they get to high school.
He did,
yeah. I mean, so that's good. So that's good. So that's good. What I'm saying. I think there needs to be more. There needs to be more of that because I think people will listen to these top superstars because they have celebrity value and people will listen. So it's good on Tom Brady for doing that because I think it's really important.
The fact is this, right now, all your big-time football players are basically coming out and saying that they don't think kids 9 to 12-year-olds should be playing. The majority of them that have been speaking out.
Tackle football, right?
Yeah. That's all we're talking about is tackle football.
Tackle. Okay. Well, I think we're all in agreement there. I think that if like Luke said, if the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the Andrew Lucks, the great players come out and say, you need to fix this. I'm telling you, as an experienced player, you need to stop contact until this point in time. Go ahead and do football, but do non-contact football. Please, get your kids involved in the game. It's a great game. We've prospered from it.
It is.
We love to play. It is a great game, but stop the contact until this point in time. If those superstars and heroes do start coming out, I think this will affect change. But you know what, personally, to defend you, Mike, I think the NFL is squashing them to some degree. I think the NFL is probably suddenly coaching them to not speak out because they don't want to get into this battle. But if these guys did come forward and they did talk about stop the contact football until use your age of 14 or 15, I'll go with that. I'll take that. And say, because if that's the magical number, let it be the magical number. Let the doctors decide the magical number. If that's it, then they need to be out harping that. Every NFL player. That should be NFL's mission is for all their players. Not taking a knee at a football game, but telling kids not to do contact until 15.
Yeah. This is what I'm trying to get
through. If the NFL...
Nobody listens.
Yeah, it's the NFL.
Everybody just wants to act like
back to the NFL.
Something else.
The NFL, at the end of the day, the NFL, if they're just going to keep squashing, these efforts and whatnot, they're just going to be paying billions and billions more in lawsuits because more players are going to come forward. They're going to file lawsuits.
They're not paying right now for it. Very few of those guys have gotten any money. No, they're not getting the money from that settlement. We'll have a show about that shortly with 4 or 5 former NFL players. They're not getting that money. They're being screwed out of that money by the NFL. USA Heads Up Football is owned by the NFL. So all I'm telling you is this. You shouldn't put your kid in a helmet to get hit until he's in high school. There's no reason to. And right now, this is being run by a big corporation who doesn't give a damn about you, your kids, or the guys that made them this money. They piss on everybody every day. And the big thing is this. Football's going to die eventually, and it's not because of head trauma. It's going to be because of a big corporation that just doesn't know when to stop. And I mean, it's
the big bullet.
Point, they're only interested in making money. They're only interested in making money.
And that's what's going to kill football. It's not
and the owner.
It's not because little Bobby can't play when he's 9 or 10. It's going to be because people are going to get tired of going to a football game, paying $50 to park, pay $130 for a decent ticket, while the tickets that they had 15 years ago are owned by some fat ass who's sitting in the middle that owns another corporation that's sponsoring them. And, I mean, you're paying $15 for a beer. Colin Kaepernick's not allowed to.
Mike, what NFL team cut you? He's telling you have a grudge.
But this is the thing. It's not a grudge. My grudge is this. I go to an NFL football game. I have to be basically strip searched. I have to pay $40 for parking. I have to pay $10 for a beer. I have to pay all this shit. And the thing, I stopped getting season tickets in 2013 because I got the Red Zone on my phone, right? So I can watch whatever game I want. The Bengals are actually good. They win a game. I'm trying to see if the Browns are going to beat the Patriots. I pull my phone out while I'm sitting at the stadium, and I'm trying to watch a Red Zone. And it tells me, oh, this is blacked out within 20 miles of stadiums. I'm paying for it. I paid for this ticket. And they're going to tell me I can't do it. Screw Roger Goodell. You know what?
Hey, Lucas, I think we've lost him.
You haven't lost me.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of this. The whole point of this
it is.
It's
the NFL is the rudder.
They're the puppet master. They're the puppet master. The
NFL is the rudder steering the ship, and the ship is not going in the right direction. There's no doubt. And I think the NFL could be the biggest supporter and changer of youth football, and to slow the progression of CTE. They could do it single-handedly by the way they conduct themselves, the way they use their players, and the way they can influence it. But I think the NFL openly, consciously chooses not to do it because it will cut into their profits, as you have said.
Yeah, this is an organization
no doubt
that consciously denies health benefits to guys that are totally disabled. We have, and I'm not going to say any names, but we have a few shows done by former NFL players on our network. And we have one of them that calls us and says, man, we can't do that team show anymore because the NFL contacted me and said, since I won as part of the concussion settlement, if I can come on and talk with you guys a half hour a day. No, it's not silence. It's if I am healthy enough to coherently talk for a half hour once a week, I could get a desk job so they won't give me the money. Even though he's disabled.
Right. The silencing, they silence it, Yeah, there's no doubt. I don't think anybody disputes that one either.
Yeah, and you look at it, Lucas. I had a guy on that was like a fucking 1960s all-decade team player for the Rams, and he played for 12 years. Should be in the Hall of Fame. He's not. 60-some interceptions or 40-some interceptions. But I'm talking to him off air, and I'm saying, man, how big's your pension from the NFL? And he's like, oh, every month I get $1,000.
Wow. That's disgrace.
Yeah. And these are the guys that made it so they could make that money. And, I mean, right now, Colin Kaepernick can't play in the NFL. But, you can go get a DUI and kill a woman. They'll suspend you for 4 weeks, and you can come back and play in the Super Bowl because it happened 5 or 6 years ago.
It's crazy. Even performance-enhancing drugs, they give a penalty and compared to domestic violence. I mean,
this is a league that has basically destroyed Josh Gordon because he smokes weed. But you can be Brett Favre, send a picture of your junk to a reporter, which is basically sexual harassment, which he doesn't want to see it. And
okay, we have gotten way off base.
No, we haven't. We haven't gotten off base.
We have.
Lucas, do you think we're off base?
I'm ahead of you guys. We're off base.
I think the discussion was about youth football,
youth sports,
and
concussions, and we're now into bashing the NFL into holy hell.
We can have a whole segment,
okay?
And I think
that's another whole show, Mike.
Is that the NFL has a lot of problems, but I think at the end of the day, I think we could all take away from today is that look, I mean, kids need to be in organized sports, but it just needs to be safer. And if that, means eliminating tackle football at ages 9 to 12, that's what it means. But then there needs to come an age where, if you're serious about playing, you got to go play college football. You got to face the contact. At that age, the parents and the kids understand the risks attached to playing. Otherwise, and in their minds, if they calculate the risks outweigh the benefits, then they shouldn't play. Find something else to do.
Well, in the end,
I agree. I think we all agree on the fact that
football should be allowed at that age because you need a taste of contact. That's what you just said.
No, we know he didn't. He said there was a point in time that
Lucas,
should not.
Didn't you say that?
No, until high school.
Sorry, what?
Not he said no contact until junior high or high school. Again, let the doctors decide that. When is the safe period in time for them to start absorbing head blows? I don't know what that time is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a neurologist.
Like that.
I don't know.
Has to be up to leagues or I don't know.
It's got to be up to physicians. Put it in the hands of physicians.
I think if you did, then it would be no football till you're in high school because Moot, who was the one that did the concussion movie, definitely can't be bought by the NFL, and that's what he said.
Right. But it doesn't mean youth football can't go on in a non-contact capacity. I think we all agree on that.
I don't know why you keep going back to that.
Well, because I'm trying to get a baseline here and trying to wrap this discussion so we're all back on the same page.
We are on the same page.
So we're all in agreement that we should eliminate contact up to a period of time to be determined by logical people who are qualified to make that decision. At that point, we usher in contact at a slow pace for a couple of years, get them used to contact, and then we let them go full bore and go with stipulations that we minimize the contact as most programs do now with no weekly contact, only contacting games basically, and use your dummy up contact as a precursor. And we haven't solved the problem, but we've addressed the problem, and we're starting to minimize the problem.
Minutes ago.
And I think, I do agree. But I'm going to try and
go to a Rams game this year, and I don't want to be strip searched by the NFL because they listen to this show.
Well, they do that.
They'll single me out. I'm 6'8".
They do that to everybody, which is unconstitutional. Go ahead.
They'll find me and make a bigger example of me. Oh yeah, you're that guy with.
I just think there needs to be. I think there needs to be more. I think there needs to be more education in general, especially at the younger ages. I mean,
I think USA football is a part of that process.
Sure they are.
And it's part of that process.
It's a start. They're not perfect, but it's a start. They're trying to do something.
By the NFL, you know that, right?
Yes, I know that.
Okay. All right. Which was kind of part of the thing about the 15.
But I think the biggest verbiage, as we all just said, comes from the players speaking up and starting to harp on this collectively as a group. The NFL Players Association should be all over this. There's who you got to go get the NFLPA to say we back this, we endorse this as a group of players. Our union to stop the contact.
They won't.
Well, they should. Then
they should. Because the NFL
they should.
They can't.
If they care about their own people, they should.
They don't. If they cared about their own people, this would have been solved 30 years ago because they would have put something in place.
We didn't know about it 30 years ago.
No, we didn't know about it 30 years ago, Mike. No. We did not know about how bad
it was. In 1994.
We didn't, Mike.
Yeah, we did. In 1994.
We didn't. Mike, I played football 30 years ago.
Whatever.
I played 40 years. We didn't know.
People did not know about CTE 30 years ago. Come on.
We didn't know
Nobody knew about
brain damage. Yeah, we didn't. We didn't know about former players that were having problems 30 years ago.
No, we didn't, Mike. We didn't know it.
All right.
No,
we
didn't.
Listen to our show with Jerry Ball, who came on to explain to us in 1994 how Gene Upshaw went ahead and let the NFL Players Association, or the NFL, have their way with him in the collective bargaining so that wasn't in the contract for players that, had all kind of injury problems when they left football, brain injury problems. But, yeah, nobody knew about it. Nobody knew in 1994 that if you constantly got knocked out, you could end up messed up. Because I'm pretty sure by 1989, everybody knew that that's what had caused Muhammad Ali's problems. But, yeah, nobody knew. Nobody knew you get hit.
But Mike, I think we can agree, though, that the awareness accelerates, especially in the 21st century. It has.
Right.
Okay. I just had a point there that Steve obviously doesn't want to hear. So listen to the Jerry Ball interview. It was brought up in 1994, and the NFL ignored it.
Well, first off, that was only 24 years ago. That wasn't 30 years ago.
Okay.
So do your math. Okay? You're on there to begin with. That wasn't 30 years ago. 1994 to 2018 is 24 years.
Actually, it was 23
years 30.
ago because the meeting was in December.
And I think at that point in time, when one voice speaks up, it starts off as a rumble, and then it grows into a chant, then it grows into a holler, then it goes into a yell, then it goes into a scream, then it goes into action. We're in the action phase right now.
And Mike,
bravo for this guy for stepping up and fighting it. He started the fight, okay? But you don't usually win these battles on the first battle you take for them. He started the battle,
and they're still
started
not.
the fight.
They're still losing it.
Look where we are
NFL
today.
Still don't take care of the players.
Well, that's an issue that needs to be resolved with the NFL.
That's a
But
whole
the rest of the world the rest of the world will speak their mind. NFL attendance is down. NFL viewership is down. It's not just because singly people won't take a knee. People are getting tired of the bullying that the NFL is.
I think it's because it's
and they're getting tired of everything they do.
And back then, Mike, when players would, admit that they're dealing with concussions or, health issues, they would just be shunned in the locker room. I mean, there was a real culture of fear back then when players would admit.
Fired because of concussions, and that was 20 years ago.
And
so I think, 30-year mark.
So I think now that whole kind of culture, I think the culture in the locker room has definitely been a lot more accepting of players who are dealing with these types of issues, which is good.
Lucas,
and the conversation needs to continue.
Yeah, what I almost think happened, Lucas, is the locker room now is people are looking at it and going, crap, this could happen to me, or it is happening to me. I think before it was like, this guy's just an idiot. He just got screwed somewhere. But I think now players are looking at the locker room and going, Aaron Hernandez, that could be me. That might be me now. I may already be there. And they're getting serious about it.
Borland from the 49ers retired after a great rookie season. But the point is this. He's 24 years old. And Calvin Johnson retired because he's a freaking Detroit Lion and he was never going to get to the Super Bowl. We all know that. Same reason Barry Sanders retired.
I hope there's no lie. I hope there's no Lions listeners. They're gonna unfollow the grueling truth after this segment.
Oh, screw the Detroit Lions. It's not like they're ever gonna win anything, anyways.
The awareness and the voice continues to grow immensely to where the NFL will have to take action sooner than later. It's becoming far too prevalent. It starts with the player you mentioned in 1994, in Gene Upshaw. It started there. The voice started there, and the voice has grown louder every single year to where it's all the way down now to our youth programs and where it should be. And it's happening. And I think that we just have to all, intelligent people such as yourself who've been involved in football all your life, Mike, need to be a voice and get on the bandwagon. And you need to start going back to your community and saying, no, I'm authority. This is how it's got to be done. And look for solutions. Don't bring the problems. I always told my people when they work for me, don't come to me with your issues. Come to me with your solutions. Don't come to my table and talk to me as a manager and just tell me your damn problems. I'm not going to hear them. Bring me your solutions. I'll listen to them.
I think I'm doing that with Steve from now on, Lucas.
Yeah. That's a good strategy.
Hey,
That's
and
a good strategy.
Everybody, Steve Risley has wrote a NASCAR article. Make sure you check it out tonight. It is edited, Steve. And it is actually
great.
I'm not going to say it is very well written because there was a lot of scribbling. We had to do a lot of changing on it with the words because he can't.
I'm an idiot.
He can't spell. But it is a really good, really well written article, well thought out article. Put it like that. Jeremiah made it well written, but it was a well thought out article.
Thank you.
I was actually impressed with Steve coming from Indiana University.
And NASCAR and auto racing.
Yeah, I know.
Official sport of the South.
Yeah. But Lucas,
all right.
I want to thank you for coming on the show today, and maybe
we'll
have
thanks,
you back
Lucas.
once a week or something.
That would be great.
I like
thanks,
Lucas.
guys.
I'm going to come vacation in Canada, and I'm going to find you, and we're going to go drink some Moosehead.
Don't let him catch you. If he finds you, you'll never be the same, Lucas.
Lucas, I look forward to talking.
See the abuse I take.
Lucas, you don't have any woods up there in Canada, do you?
Oh,
you ever watched the movie Deliverance?
Oh, I have.
That was down south in NASCAR territory. Are you kidding me?
I know,
that's
but
a NASCAR theme
that's
movie.
what happens when NASCAR country goes north. Lucas, if you're ever walking through the woods in the next few weeks and you hear a banjo start to play, freaking run.
Run very fast.
All right.
And I love my partner. Lucas, thank you very much. Great conversation.
Hey, Lucas.
Great. I think we all realize
it was great to be on the show. It was great to be on the show.
Yeah. Lucas,
Steve,
got a question.
Yeah.
Belichick or Lombardi?
Lombardi, 100%.
See, wrong. I'm not coming to Canada now. Never mind. Forget that.
I respect both coaches. I do, but Tom Brady made Bill Belichick.
I know.
what
Bart
he is.
Starr
I'm sorry.
was like trash. Bart Starr was terrible. You know, Bart Starr was 9-1 in playoff games too. He was god awful. Whew. But
and Vince Lombardi, you know, those quotes. I mean, they're just so inspiring.
I know, because if you make inspiring quotes, that's the. I mean, if it's
you're good, right? Yeah, I agree with you, Mike.
Quotes,
you are the best.
If inspiring quotes won championships, Jerry Faust would still be the head coach at Notre Dame.
If we're going,
absolutely.
If we're going by inspiring quotes, Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first,
you're last.
That's the greatest quote of all time.
Michael
Ricky Bobby,
Michael Jordan would be a coach.
NASCAR boy. If you ain't first, you're last.
We can have Lucas back tomorrow if he wants to argue that, because our topic tomorrow is Lombardi or Belichick.
Oh, I would make a good case for my man Vince. Hey, the Super Bowl trophy's named after this guy.
It's because he died.
Show him some love.
It's because he died. He died at the time they named it. That's why they named it after him. If they were going to name it after anybody, they would name it after George Halas, who there would be no NFL without George Halas.
Without George Halas. Right. Why is it not the Halas trophy?
This is all I'm saying. If Bill Belichick can win a Super Bowl or two without Tom Brady, I think I could I'll rethink my
Let me ask you a question.
Right,
did Bart Starr win a Super Bowl or did Vince Lombardi win a Super Bowl without Bart Starr?
Nope.
No. Okay. But it shows you. But it shows you.
Lucas, you're banking. Lucas, shut up. Lucas,
save it for tomorrow, Lucas.
Stop it. Save it for tomorrow, Lucas. You're losing.
All right,
guys.
Your
tomorrow.
Steam is dropping.
That's
all right.
I'll teaser.
Be in tomorrow. I'll be in tomorrow. Trust me.
And we'll call you at the same time. That's our little teaser for tomorrow's debate, which will be who was the greatest coach, Bill Belichick or Vince Lombardi. Lukas Weese will be back. Am I saying your last name right?
You are. Some people
right.
say Weiss, but that's wrong. It's Weese.
Oh,
so,
I know. I am like I make it a rule of mine to be like to know how to pronounce every word ever invented.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't really.
He worked very hard. He worked very hard on dumbass with me, so he's got that down.
I just call Steve Risley Bear. So, all right, guys, I got to wrap this up.
All right.
My son's got a job, and the thing is this: at his job, Steve, and this is my younger one, who's a little nuts. You know, he's the one that all the colleges want to come play line for him. But he got a job at a firework place, and last night he comes home and he's all excited because they gave him these free fireworks, and he's like, "Look how big this is!" And I'm doing the CFL Pick'em show at that time with Robert. I'm not thinking anything about it. He goes outside. It's like 9:30 at night. It's dark, and he lights off this firecracker or firework. This damn thing, it felt like Beirut back in like 1982, like a big explosion went off. He comes running in the house. He says, "If the cops come, just turn the lights off. We'll act like it wasn't us."
And Lucas, God forbid one of those bottle rockets doesn't go off and hit him in the head and concuss him.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
my goodness.
This is the thing. My kids are concussion-proof because there's nothing in between their ears, just like me.
Like rugby players, exactly what I was saying. Just like rugby players.
Yeah, rugby players.
All right, and we're going to have some rugby players on sometime that live close to L.A., and we're going to give them Steve's address. But, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind you that tonight you can hear our NFL Legends show where I interviewed former great kicker from the New Orleans Saints, San Diego Chargers. Yes, it was San Diego at that time, so don't give me no crap, Steve. John Carney. A star at Notre Dame.
It should still be San Diego.
Yeah, so John Carney will be there. Survive in Advance tomorrow. We'll have the debate who was the greater coach. Not the greatest coach of all time. We'll have that discussion too. Belichick or Lombardi. So we'll talk that tomorrow. You can check us out live at noon then also. So and I want to remind everybody, you can hear us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Lukas Weese, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth. where the legends speak.